Hello everyone, this is Ax from Axis here, trying to merge subjective perception with objective dissection. I want to review a book which I read a long time ago in 2007. The book is called A New Life by Orhan Pamuk. At that time, Orhan Pamuk won the Nobel Prize and I was interested in his books. He is, I think, the first Turkish writer to win a Nobel Prize, and his books are pretty much amazing. They deal with a lot of different subject matters, and most of them deal with the sense of identity or loss of identity or the seeking of identity and the cusp of having multiple identities in which one maneuvers around the world. And there's also a lot of emphasis on relationships, be them romantic or platonic or even symbolic. They all have a certain role in Orhan Pamuk's novels. Orhan Pamuk doesn't necessarily romanticize any concept. He does notice the flaws and the foibles of his characters. There are some good reasons sometimes he gives for those characters having those flaws and foibles, but at the same time, I've noticed that he doesn't necessarily give an excuse to his character if there is no excuse to be pertained to. In fact, he knows when his character is an anti-hero, a hero, or even one of those horrible people that we encounter every day that we don't want to encounter, who we feel that have lapses in their identity that we can't really connect with. So this is one of the reasons why I like Orhan Pamuk's work. And there's also another reason I think that I love his work is that he won the Nobel Prize, as my friend said, for his non-fiction book called Memories of Istanbul. Now, he is a person who has not left he's a person who's not left his country, Turkey, and the way that he builds Istanbul for you and different parts of Turkey, it feels like you're actually there. He can be definitely a travel writer for Turkey because the places, the streets, the cafes, many of the places that he talks about, you feel like you're actually there. You're transported into Turkey, into Istanbul, into different places. So this descriptive power that he has is extremely overwhelming and extremely absorbing. And I don't think many writers have this quality to describe real life places and to make you feel that you are part of those real life places. I mean, it's sometimes easier to draw out a fantasy world because you're creating the nooks and crannies of those places, but to actually describe a real life place with such sheer detail and to have that absorbing technique is also a very rare skill. But I think Orhan Pamuk deserves that Nobel Prize for being able to do such a thing. Now, I think that The New Life by Orhan Pamuk is a very interesting novel. It's one of my favorite novels, I should say, because it was very introspective of the character who we were engaged with. It talked a lot about psychology of the character and the various psychologies of the people that he was talking around with. Of course, there is a plot. Most of literary novels are very character driven, but of course there is a backdrop plot and an essential plot for that character driven role, and there is one also for The New Life. Most of Orhan Pamuk's books that I read were all, like, even if I partly read most of them, they're usually translated by a woman called Maureen Freely, who he went to to university with. I forgot which university he went to, but though they never interacted in university, they are from the same university. But this book was translated by a person called Guna Ligan. I think Guna Ligan. I think I'm mispronouncing his name because his name had an accent on it. I think the accent is called a tima, and I don't exactly know how to pronounce that. Sorry if I made any mistakes in pronouncing his name and also telling you about the accent. Basically, the book is about Osman, a young civil engineer student from the Technical University, which is located in Istanbul, who one day finds a book. Now, the book really changes his life because as soon as he starts reading the book, he starts to want to be a part of the book and to be part of the world that is inside the book. Now, there's obvious explanations by Orhan Pamuk that there is a chance that this world is not entirely real, that it could be, it's not a parallel universe, it's not something fictional, but it could not be real. There is the sense that you could be drawn so much into a book that you want to live the life of the book, despite of the fact that there are connotations and limitations that that life is not real and that it cannot be characterized and it cannot be transformed into something concrete. Now, one of the best aspects, and I think the plot devices of this book, is that you never get to know what's really inside the book. That's one of the mysteries. Like if you read Edgar Allan Poe's The Purloined Letter, you do not know what that letter is. In the same way, Pamuk never really tells you what the book is about completely. He never really shows you an extract, he never shows you exactly what it is about. It's just something that you know that transforms a person's life, well, most people's life when they read it. But you know, it's not, it doesn't feel that he's missing something out because he's not talking about that book. You actually know that he is talking because about a book that is so enlightening in a way, is so transformative, but you don't really feel there's an absence of connection because there is no book to talk about. Like there is a book, but there is no description of the book or detailing of the book. But this technique doesn't make an absence of plot or an absence of character development. In fact, character development and character introspection is extremely vital in this book, and it's very well fleshed out. You get to see how Osman gets into from a normal ordinary life into a very chaotic and a very intense form of life, where he runs away from home and decides to pursue the life he sees in the book. Now, there are other characters that have also read the book and share Osman with this journey, either intermittently or throughout. One of them is Janan, who Osman really loves and who Osman wants to be with in every way possible. But Janan is in love with the other main character of this novel, who is Mehmet. Now, Mehmet is Janan's boyfriend in a way, and he has also read this book. In fact, he has introduced Janan to this book as well. So basically, he's the one in their triangle who is the most aware of the book. And basically, he is also one of the characters that Osman tries to rival with, not only for Janan's affections, as you realize, but also for the realizations and the enlightenments that you get from reading that book. Now, Mehmet is like, they all have a sort of spiritual crisis which seems to have been resolved with the book or either heightened from the book. Now, when you read the novel, you will be able to identify which characters have been really transformed by the book and in what manner and degree they've been transformed in. I really like the way that Pamuk wrote this book. You have a very nice protagonist, Osman. Then you have also very good deuterogenist and tritogenist in Mehmet and Janan. You also have other characters who you can relate with and things like that. Basically, the book is all about, I think, a young adult crisis as well. That when we reach a point in our lives where we feel like we're what we want to do and what we want to achieve, and this part of life is very crucial and very subject to influence and both negative and positive influence, and it could definitely be hazardous to anybody who's not aware of this. Osman is a symbol of both the both the hazards and the promises that comes with youth. He's also somebody who's gaining maturation as the book goes away. I mean, goes on. Sorry for that, but and you can understand that either there are a lot of questions that you also ask when Osman is making his choices, is going forward, because you want to understand, and maybe from a slightly older reader, they might connect with Osman, or they might actually question what his motivations and what his quest is about. But at the same time, you cannot totally deject Osman. It's really hard to deject him because he is a character that many of us will be able to connect with. Maybe we will not go through the extremes that he goes through, but we can understand how it feels like to be uh, inspired by certain things and to want to get them and have a romantic notion and thinking that they can be true. There's also this talk that Mehmet has lived the life of the book. This is what Janan says earlier on. And we start to question that. We question, has Mehmet really lived the life of the book? And if he has, why is he still on this quest to revisit that life or to still get that life that he's gotten from the book? Overall, this book is a very psychological, in-depth analysis of young adults, maturity, and also spiritual progression, spiritual decline, and also the condition of growing up in general and accepting things as they come, or also getting an enlightening philosophy that helps you through, but also understanding which philosophies work in real life and which really don't. So I recommend anybody to read this book. You can find it anywhere, I guess. It's been a long time. And it's a really good book, and I know that many people who like these sort of literary books will actually enjoy them. Well, this is all I have to say about the book. Astromax is out.